welcome everybody. This is Love Speaks Love, and I am Denise, your host, and my two wonderful guests who have both been on before speaking dragons. We have to my, I don't know if it's my right or my left, on the got Kevin that way, I think, or that way, and Kevin Humphrey, who I'll let you give a little introduction in a second, and Alessandra, my dear sister. So we are from, Alessandra is from Italy, coming from Italy. Kevin is coming from the UK, from the south. I'm coming from the north of England. And we have planned to speak about dragons today. I want to speak about the Teal Kyanite Dragon. Alessandra wants to speak about some recent unicorn experiences, and there's more surprise coming through as well. And Kev is going to speak about his experiences in Peru. And aside from that, and the dragons in Peru, aside from that, we're just going to see what flows. And normally when we start Love Speaks Love, we just begin by doing a little heart-to-heart connect. So I think actually, without further ado, we'll do that, and then we can do the introductions after. So if you're in a position to do this, if you want to close your eyes and just bring your awareness to your heart space. And let's just take a few breaths together, breathing love into our heart. Breathing in through your nose, breathing out through either your nose or your mouth. Releasing anything of the day so far, or the day ahead, or the week. Feeling your heart beginning to expand. And feeling all of our hearts together in the unified field of love. And whether you're watching now or in a future now moment, feeling all of our hearts together. And seeing beautiful streams of energy, lines of energy connecting all of us around the globe. And let's extend the heart awareness out to the heart of the earth. Connecting in with the new earth grids that emanate out from Mother Earth's heart. Connecting with the hearts of the dragons and connecting with the dragon grid of energy. And let's extend the heart awareness out to the heart of the sun. Feeling gratitude in our hearts for the light, for the life from Mother Earth and from the sun. And extending the heart awareness out to the heart of Creator, to the cosmic heart. And feeling all those energies in our hearts, in our spinal column. And handing over to you first, Alessandra, if there's anything that you wish to add, and then over to you, Kevin.
I was seeing, as you were talking, all these luminous threads, cords of light, multiple light, plasmatic, liquid light, multiple colors, very pearlescent, that was connecting us to each other and connecting us to center source. And there's waves and waves of this new pearlescent higher frequency or higher love, just this higher access juice that I'm seeing that we are working together all as a team to gather this for ourselves, for each other, for our family, and really, really, really for everyone, for humanity and for Mother Earth. I'm going to pause because I think I'm seeing something else also. It's just very, very simple. All of these words that we've been speaking, I'm just seeing Mother of Pearl. Did I mention Mother of Pearl? Or I just see this as a cohesive whole, a complete unit with all its many, 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 many layers. Back to you, Denise.
Thank you. Over to you, Kevin.
Beautiful. As we were sitting here and you're talking about the fluorescent light and the rest of it, one of the dragons I've met recently, one of the healer dragons, she just came in very gently, and she's about light body activation, energizing your spirit, and she shines with like a golden white aura. So I saw her come in, and she's got this little incantation that she likes you to say, so I'll say it's very short. It's Aurorath, dragon of radiant light, shine your warmth through the darkest night. With wings of gold, bring healing grace, illuminate the soul, and bless this space.
Beautiful. And I'm also seeing the kyanite dragons, the teal coloured kyanite dragons, and their energy too is very, very gentle. And the unicorns now. Okay, so beginning to move your body, a little bit of a wriggle, perhaps shake your hands. And feel free to share in the comments anything you experienced there, any dragons that came to you. And also feel free to share where you are in the world. And thank you all for joining us. I didn't want to come back and open my eyes. Alessandra, seeing as you're unmuted, I will hand over to you for a little introduction, please.
Well, I am feeling so giddy and happy, and I'm just so thankful that you are doing what you're doing, and you've been doing it solidly for so long, and you've got this wonderful rhythm, aside from your wonderful energy. And then it's the 175th time that you, me, and Kevin are together in this way, so I'm just very thankful. I have a degree in psychology, a master's in art. I've worked for several decades with people with special needs, thinking that I think we're all special needs in the end, which means we have the special ability and the special disability. And I have been so blessed to be a galactic shaman full time for 10 years. So I feel blessed in many ways, but then I have my own issues in life and just keep finding that I just keep getting in my own way, which I think we all do. I think it's such a human trait. So my latest thing is there's unicorns, and I'll talk about it in a bit, but my latest thing is I'm thinking it's about I don't want to hide anymore. And I think we all, especially as healers or starseeds, I feel like we have all these different degrees of hiding. So I'm always talking with family and friends in the last 20 years, because I've been a healer for 25 years. And I always say I'm out of the closet for this category, and then I'm it for this other category, but there's still other things to be afraid of. So my latest thing is I really want to not be afraid of being human, if that makes any sense. It's almost like, oh, dying, no problem. You get to be in other dimensions. Yay! But on Earth, scared. So that's my intro. So happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I resonate a lot with what you said there. And I've kind of been in hiding a bit this last year. I haven't done so many Love Speaks Loves, and probably more with you two than I think I've only done 6 maybe this year, and I think probably at least half of them have been with you two. But maybe it's time for that to change. Okay, Kevin, who are you?
Well, I have to say 6 is better than none. So, and sometimes it's the quality rather than the quantity. So there's always quality in what you share. So yeah, I often say, don't beat yourself up, because us humans, we like to beat ourselves up as well as hiding. And I've been doing less and less of that myself, less and less hiding definitely, and less beating myself up the way I think it should be. and more sitting with the way it is and the way it's happening, and being more present in what is actually happening rather than thinking it should be some other way. And once you do that, it's easier to be happy. So I was in IT for many years in corporate and very unhappy. And it took me a while to escape. And I've escaped for the last 3 years, and that escaping, that control, those shackles, all of those, that made me very, very happy. And yeah, so Reiki Master, energy healing, Rahanish, celestial, shamanism, and now the new one, dragon shamanism, which is basically using the dragons, the healing energy in a shamanic way. So that's the big thing that's come in, and really just trusting what is now, trusting that the universe has me, trusting that the dragons that are coming in are the ones that need to be shared, and spending a lot of time just being in their energy. 101 of them just came in recently. We had a week off from my shamanic course, and I was like, oh, what should I do? So I was like, oh, I've got this feeling there's some healing dragons out there that are trying to come through. All dragons are healers, but I thought there's definitely ones that are specific. And I was explaining in the course the other day that, like, sometimes you can be a general practitioner as a doctor, but sometimes you be saying, oh, I'm going to become a brain surgeon, I'm a heart surgeon. And I've realized there's dragons out there that are specific to certain areas, ancestral healing or whatever it is. So that's where I am. That's what I'm calling in now, and I'm feeling very empowered by the dragons to share them. So yeah, in a good space.
Yeah, thank you. And I think we all work in quite similar ways, really, the way that we kind of work with energy, work with sound as well. And for those that don't know me, I have done energy healing work, vibrational healing work for about 23 years, 24 years, and started this adult game of life as a nurse. So looked at the body in a completely different way from how I look at it today. And in similar ways to you two, it's like a progressive coming out over things. First of all, 20 years ago, even mentioning the word energy or Reiki or angels or anything like that was one step, and meditation as well. And that's become much more mainstream. Dragons was another step, I think. You know, a lot of people on their spiritual journey don't really know that much about dragons and haven't really worked with them. But I think especially this year, in the year of the dragon, they are making themselves known. And the year of the dragon is always a very powerful year, as it was 12 years ago. So I am in the UK. I spent 12 years living in Australia, in Byron Bay. As I just look at my photograph of the beach in Byron, such a beautiful, beautiful, warm, sunny, light place, as opposed to England in the winter when it sunsets at like 4 o'clock. But I'm loving being back in England, and a lot of us our first connection was about the churches and the dragons under churches. I think that was the first collaboration that we did, because we'd all been kind of doing that work. Is there anything else to say about the introduction? No, I don't think so. I think that will do. Okay, so we've spoken previously on how dragons kind of came into our lives, but I'm getting a nudge from the unicorns already. Alessandra, if you would like to share some of your recent experiences of these huge unicorns that you've been feeling, and anything else that you wish to share about.
Well, I think I want to. So I've been feeling and seeing massive unicorns, and I know it's a sign that very good energies, frequencies, and beings and collectives are coming to Earth. But I want to backtrack a little bit and say that the first unicorn I met came when I had just finished doing a land clearing with a few human helpers, and we were all saying the same thing. This land was a park in San Diego, California, and we both saw some negative ET energy, and then we all saw similar energetic things. And by the end, by the time we were done with this land clearing, we both said, "Do you see a unicorn?" And we were both surprised. So you have these three people just seeing a unicorn, and it was a little bit with your open eyes, but a mix of seeing it with 3D eyes and then, of course, 5D sight. So that was my first experience with a unicorn, and it felt like I've got it from here. The unicorn is saying, I'm a guardian, I appeared, I've been called, I'm going to further purify the space, but I'm also the guardian of the space now. It is no longer in the hands of dark ETs or something. So that is what I feel unicorns are. Now, fast forward to here now. What I'm extremely excited about, and it's almost like I have to give this message, is that we don't have one kind of unicorn. We don't just have one. We get to have lots. So in America or the Western world, we're used to seeing a white horse with a horn on it. And that's not exactly how I see unicorns. And they're usually not as big as horses. They're slender, more slender. But anyways, everybody sees unicorns in their own ways. I'm just saying that there's different kinds. And then only recently did I understand that in Japan, they have a different word, and it's not necessarily unicorn, but it's kirin, Kirin, and they call it, it's a chimera, and it has scales, and it's basically fire, actually. It's an etheric being, actually more similar to this image. But it does have a bit of a goat's tail or a goat's face or goat's hooves, a lion. So it's a mixture of different beings. And it's not necessarily even white, but it does have a one horn. So it's several beings in my way, but it's also how I see some specific kinds of unicorns that are very, very deer-like. And these kirin are often on shrines and temples, and I've been to Japan several times, so I've energetically seen them. So these kirin are the ones that I often see. So just to give a few of the different kinds. Then, it was only a few months ago, I went to Malta for the first time, right? A little teensy island off the south of Italy, and I knew I had to go there, and funny, it's like funny but not funny. And off of Malta to the north of Malta, just a little bit, there's an even teensier island called Gozo. And archaeologically speaking, it has a giantess, so a giant goddess temple. So that's even what it's called. And really, everything is large scale. And it was when I was getting ready to walk into the archaeological space that I was about to walk in, and then I'm like, don't move. There's a giant unicorn there and there. So I could say that I was being flanked by unicorns. And I suddenly felt very important. And I felt that the location was very important. And so I was just walking in, and as I walked in, then there was all these unicorns behind us. But I'm used to having seen legions of unicorns because I had visions of that, and they brought me to physically go in Scotland, Orkney Islands. So there's these connections to these sites. So as soon as we walk in, then there's these legions of unicorns going, and I thought, okay, they're doing their thing. So now I'm here in Italy, and actually, the unicorns never left me. From Malta, they've always been around. But, and I have to say this out loud, in the recent time of political turmoil, these really huge unicorns, because they're giant unicorns, they're no longer the size of a big horse, or they are the size of 3 stories high of a building. These very big but very thick unicorns are even more in my face, and I can feel the fur, and the fur is very, very fluffy, soft, but they are very strong. So the message, or then we'll get into the energy, is there has been a huge shift, And I keep working with this Aldebaran plasmatic rainbow iridescent portal. And these unicorns are proud to tell me they come from many places. They also come from the Aldebaran portal. Maybe I'm more attuned to it, and saying, we're not your usual unicorns. We are here because there's a certain kind of justice that's being rebalanced, and there's a purification of space, and this is really what they feel like too. And then we would be small, like this big next to them, and they're that big. So there is this, it's not just light and fluffy energy, it's this might, and then purity and purification. At some point, not right now, there's also an intersect with unicorns and dragons. So let me see if there's anything else to say, or I'll just pause here a sec.
Just taking all that in. Kevin, I want to hand over to you at that point just to see if there's anything that you wish to add to what Alessandra said then about the unicorn energy. Yeah, that's really interesting. Thank you for that.
It's interesting because I have not seen many unicorns like one, and the only time I've met a unicorn was when I was with Alessandra in Rome at the Vatican, and we just the group that she was leading, we just walked all the way through the square, all the way up towards the Vatican. We stood by the huge big pillar there, and we did a lot of cleansing. At the time, I was using dragon energies to do cleansing, and some dragon eggs came in, or but at the end of it, I saw a huge, great big unicorn, and it was like wrapped around this sort of obelisk that's there, almost sort of saying, I own this area. It's not the Vatican really, it's just they're here for a little while. And that's the only time I've ever met one, and the energy was just felt serene. Yeah, and thinking about it now, it was a large unicorn. It wasn't like a horse size that you normally see. That's the only time I've ever met one, and I didn't feel a huge connection. It was just more a case I saw it. I think some of us are more attuned to angels, some of us to dragons, some of us to unicorns, some of us to something different. And a small funny one is when everyone says unicorn to me, I always see a rhino, and I just think they're fully armored unicorns because they're like, single horn.
I used to have a t-shirt that had a picture of a rhino, and it says, "Save the chubby unicorns."
Oh, I just think of like fully armored, they're the guards of the sort of skinnier unicorns. No disrespect meant.
Yeah, it's interesting because unicorns haven't really come in for me that much. They've been in my awareness and they've been in my periphery, but they haven't really been kind of center stage. But a sort of fairly recent Mary Magdalene chapel visit that I went to, so this is not too far from me, in the north of England, in North Yorkshire, and it was to do with the throat, and I'd done a light language transmission for the throat. And then the unicorns came in, but also golden lions and also golden lambs as well. More regular unicorns, I wouldn't say more the classic kind of idea of how a unicorn looks. But there's something about the lions, the golden lions and the golden lambs as well. And it's almost like unicorns hold both those energies a little bit, like they kind of have, dragons more have the fierceness of a lion, but I just feel that energy of the golden lions and the golden lambs within the unicorn. I feel a connection. And certainly in England on shields and stuff, unicorn are often seen with lions. I don't know about lambs so much, but certainly with lions, like there is a connect to me there in some way.
You're making me think, or I'm getting the feeling early Christianity drew unicorns in the way that I see them, that they weren't the horses, and they had the longer horn, because the longer horn is literally more light projection. And these early tapestries that really did the unicorn looking so different, but there was a huge connection with the golden lion, the lamb also. So this is very Christian symbolism, but I feel like there's a tapping into a frequency there. So they were tapped into something. I think I'm sensing it. I want to say it's real. I'm feeling it as real, and I see their connections.
Thank you. Kev, anything you want to add, or is there anything more to share about unicorns?
There's some questions on the Facebook. Somebody says, do the unicorns clear ley lines? What else do they do? I always thought they were messengers. Are they? That's from Margaret Churchill. Any answer to that?
I feel like dragons are better known for specific ley line work, because dragons mean so many things, but the dragons are more about the lines and the flows. The dragon themselves are like the snake, and the dragons themselves are the ley lines. I believe that unicorns work with that energy, but unicorn is more like the entire tapestry and the entire map, saying, we've got this. Similar to working with Pegasus energy, with the wingspan saying, we're claiming this space. So, and what was the other question? Purifying, or what was the other part?
Messengers.
I'm getting a blank on that, because maybe that's the unicorns that I don't work with. But because the only message that I get from them is like, we got it from here. Thanks for your work. We're claiming the space. But I know that there's other kinds. So I must have I call them the legions. So, yeah.
Makes sense.
I think in terms of the messenger, I kind of feel that our higher self or higher energies will often appear to us in whatever form might be comfortable for us. And for a lot of people, unicorns might be more approachable, they might be more of a gentle introduction to otherworldly creatures. I'm certainly not getting a no for them being a messenger. But it almost feels like they have many roles, and messengers can come in many forms. So it may be that one might appear to people as a messenger and as a unicorn. But I think their role is much more than that. But it certainly sits right for them to be a messenger. But I think there's a whole heap more than that.
While you were talking, I just did a duck search on the lion, the unicorn, and images. There's pages and pages of them. So there's a shield here, coat of arms, where it's got the lion and the unicorn. So yeah, it's there everywhere, isn't it? It's in our psyche. It's the first time I've actually heard of the two together, but now I see them in the images and see people's coat of arms. It's like, oh yeah, of course.
Well, the unicorn is the symbol of England, and the lion, no, unicorn is a symbol of Scotland, and the lion was a symbol for England.
Yeah.
So, but I think that those symbols were specifically used because they were already being paired together, right? So I mean, I think it's beyond that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel there's something about dragons. If you think of a resonance of a unicorn, and it's quite gentle, and dragons aren't always seen that way, but they definitely, to me, have that aspect to them. But they're also quite fierce, like the lion as well. So it's almost like if you were merging the energies of unicorns and lions, or if, yeah, you kind of get dragon energy in there. I'm not sure if that quite makes sense.
It's almost a bit masculine and feminine, isn't it? The dragons are sort of more powerful, macho, and the unicorns more delicate and gentle and understanding and listening, and it's sort of like the masculine and feminine. That's what I'm feeling.
When I was drawing or channeling dragons for people, and then these dragons also, some of those dragons said will also be in the card deck. We have more to say. There was Phoenix Dragon, and then there was Unicorn Dragon. And it all goes with this shapeshifter energy as to, like you said, our higher self will come in a form that we can see it. And so a lot of these energies are coming in forms that we would know or to give us symbols of what they are. So the unicorn dragon, unicorn dragon, it has been coming to me lately also. It's more of an unknown, and maybe it can be less pushed back or have less, like we might have less resistance to it because there's less information about it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you for that. I feel us moving to Peru now, Kev.
I like the idea of moving to Peru. That sounds good. Actually, a friend of mine said, I'm tapping into, she sees the futures, and she sees other, not maybe the futures, but she sees other options of your life, and your life can maybe run in many different versions at the same time. And she's into QHHT, which is like past life regressions at the simplest way. And she sent me a message the other day. She's like, tapping into some energy about you running retreats in Peru. And I was like, oh, interesting. So I sat with it, and I was like, what if I, and I was like, oh, I get this feeling like maybe I could live there for 3 months a year and run retreats. I was like, oh, that sounds quite good. And when I was last in Peru, so I've been there 3 times in the last 3 years. Not this one, but the one before, I sat with one of the local shamans, and you get to ask them 3 questions. And I said, I'm thinking about holding retreats somewhere. It could be Europe, it could be anywhere else in the world, or it could be Peru. And he gets the cocoa leaves that they get, and and he's got like watery eyes, and his face is like really wrinkly, and he's like looking at me, like he's looking into my soul, and he throws them on the floor on this amazing looking mat, and he's like, Peru. That's all he said. I was like, okay, fair enough. So that's been sitting in my heart each time I go, and every time I go there to Peru, I definitely leave a bit of my soul and my essence there. And I always take a crystal from my shamanic temple here, and I leave it there. And I've now got a picture, so that's Peru behind me, and I imagine I've got a portal so I can go to Peru whenever I want. And the energy and the group that I went with, we're all on WhatsApp, and we're talking all the time, and so we do for the last 2-3 years. So there's a huge connection whenever you go to Peru. If you ever get a chance, go. It's the cities are like normal cities, noisy, smelly, and lots of traffic and all the rest of it. But as soon as you get out of the city, they plough the field still with the oxen. They all help. So somebody says, I need my corn bringing in, and all the farmers from all the farms around come and help bring the corn in. And the next day another farmer says, come and help me, and they all help each other. And it's very basic, everything is from the earth. They spend a lot of time with their hands in the earth. Their houses are very basic. You go there and you think they haven't finished building them, but they're living in them. It's earthy. It's connected to the earth. It's a complete culture shock, because the electricity goes off and the water doesn't work. And when you're used to turning on the tap and hot water comes down, you get it's cold. And some of the hotels are 5-star, but a lot of it is very basic, and it is a culture shock. And I think that culture shock is good for us to realize that most of us are living in the 1% of the population of the world. We don't realize that most people are living more basically, but they're happy. They're so happy because they're so connected to the earth, to the planet. They still, all of them, believe in the gods and the goddesses. Their mountains are gods and goddesses. They pray to them. Yeah, and we've forgotten that connection. We pray to whoever the sports star is, or whoever is on TikTok that's got the most likes. I mean, it's mad. It's just so real, and it brings you back to that reality that you're, most of the time we're living in a dream. We're all on our phones or rest of it. And I put my phone away for 19 days. I didn't take hardly any pictures. I hardly did any internet stuff. I think my phone thought I'd died. It was great. I loved it. So I went to Cusco, which is a beautiful city, not too much like a city, and it's got like proper markets, which is gorgeous. We went to the Sacred Valley, which is just beautiful. The energy there is gorgeous. And of course, Machu Picchu. I'm sure everyone's heard of Machu Picchu, the place that somebody discovered, but it wasn't really discovered. It was hidden when it was invaded in whatever century it was by the Spanish. They left Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu was like a university place with more knowledge than gold, but there was gold there. And it's got an energy to it that is, if you've ever been to sacred places in England like Stonehenge, it's got that sort of energy to it. It's fairly solid, but it's much more powerful than Stonehenge. Stonehenge has been messed with. Machu Picchu hasn't. It's still about 80% original, because they just walked away from it, left it, and the jungle took it over. They're doing some renovations to it now, but nothing too major. And you go there, and if you get a chance to go there, don't do the standard bit of get on the train and go all the way. Do the bit where you either walk for 10 days, 3 days, or 1 day. And we always do the 1 day walk. So you get on this train. It's a beautiful rickety train that goes along the side of the river, and it's beautiful. Up in the mountains, there's still snow. We went this time only a few months ago, which is different upside down, so it's their spring, which is beautiful. Everything was waking up. So we get off the train and we do this amazing walk, and it's a tough walk. It's not an easy hike. It's a whole day. It's not many miles. It's probably about 10 miles, but it's like up and down and up and down, up and down, up and down, and you're like, oh, we're going down again. That means we've got to go up again, and eventually you get to the gate that gives you the view of Machu Picchu, and you get there as the sun is setting and everyone else has gone, left for the day. So you get the place to yourself with just like llamas and a few guards, and you get a chance to get very close to this big sacred rock that's had thousands and thousands of ceremonies on it by the shamans over the thousands of years, and you can just feel the energy emanating from it, and it just got a huge beautiful feel to it. And so we was a group of 17 of us. We did that. We also did lots of meditation. We did yoga every day. We did breath work, just breathe every day, sat in nature every day, got our hands in the earth. Did some plant medicine as well. Do you want me to share about the plant medicine? I've done other plant medicine, so I've done ayahuasca, and I describe ayahuasca as being hit by a steamroller. It's quite a soul shock. We did San Pedro, which is also called Wachuma. San Pedro was taken over by the Spanish. They don't really like to call it. They call it Wachuma in their local language. And it's basically a cactus, and it's just the juice of a cactus. It's boiled up and done in ceremony, and then you drink a cup of it, and it takes you on a journey all day. It's a long journey. It lasts 10, 15, 20 hours, depending on your metabolism. Some people purge, most people don't. And it's like a heart opening. It's, for me personally, it's totally relaxing. I'm just like laid on the grass, looking at ants going, oh, look at those ants, they're so cute. And then I'm looking at a bee going, oh, look at that bee. And then I'm looking at the flower going, oh, you're so gorgeous, look at your petals. Yeah. And I'm laying and looking at the sun, and I'm looking at the clouds. And last year when I looked at the clouds, I suddenly realized that my right eye was seeing different things, and I saw 9 layers of reality in ours. It was really weird. So I keep putting my hand over my right eye to stop seeing it. And when I took it off, I could see literally 9 levels of being. There was dragons, and there was weird things that I couldn't quite tell what they were. And I was like, whoa, this is strange. And then I've researched it a bit. And in theory, there are 9 realities on our single Earth. I was like, whew, okay. This time, I also just needed to relax. So I was just like completely chilled out. There's some people there playing music. I just like laid in the sun, laid on the grass, like like you do, and for like nearly 9-10 hours. Then they lit the fire in the evening. I just sat around the fire, and I just felt like I was being renewed. I felt like I was fully connected to the earth. At one point, I remembered there was where you can lift your shirt up and you put your bare belly button on the earth, and you get a real cleansing of your whole system, your aura. And I was doing that, and a few ants came along and started walking over me. They didn't bite me, and it was beautiful. So if you get the chance to do it, I highly recommend it. And then I was called beforehand by the dragons to go to Lake Titicaca. Lake Titicaca is the highest navigable lake in the world. It's at about 2.5 miles up. For those who like it in kilometers, that's 4 kilometers. Those who like it in meters, it's about 4,000 meters. So it's high up. And the air's thin, and people live on Lake Titicaca like they do in Venice, but not quite so posh. And they get all the reeds together and they build little like floating houses, basically made of reeds, and they just float on the river. They do tie themselves to the bank sometimes. They don't want to go out too deep, and they all live there. It's quite amazing. A few of them got speedboats, but I think from their tourist money. But a lot of it's just very basic living, and it's the way they've lived for forever. I mean, the city Puno, which is right next to Lake Titicaca, is like any city. It's just fully overgrown and all the rest of it, and people on top of each other living. But the energy on the lake is beautiful. But it's also the sacral chakra of Earth, and there's been a calling recently through quite a few other people that I know into dragons that are talking about going around to these chakras of the earth and helping clear them. And I know the dragons are on the ley lines, and the dragons guard the chakras and the rest of it. And I think over the years, they've not always managed to do it immensely well, not mainly because of just the energy that's on earth. Quite a few people I've seen are being called to go to these places, and while I was there, I was like, well, it's only a 10-hour coach ride down to the sacral chakra of earth. I should go. So I did, and while I was there, I just imagined I was sending lots of beautiful energy into the chakra. I didn't actually see a dragon there, but I did get some dragon messages while I was on the plane. That's as in a plane of grass, not on the aeroplane. So I was on a 10-hour coach journey. We stopped at one point at one of the highest points that you can on the road. It's about 2.5 miles high, and it's when it's silent, but it's silent not just in sound but in everything, as in you can't. Sometimes I can feel the energies of 5G and 4G and the radios and just the humbug of life and the lights over there from the city. There's nothing there. It's like it must have been before humans existed and there was only dinosaurs or dragons around. It was just like, I had this feeling like, if you wanted to escape humanity, this is where you'd come, and you'd really be away from it all. And I was like, the phone didn't work. There's no reception at all. And as I was sitting there thinking, this is beautiful. This, if you really want to connect with spirit, the earth, and what's above, this is the place to come. And so I was sitting there. Everyone else was going around the museum and into the shops, and I went off and sat down on my own on the bench, and I was just like, oh. It's like imagining that whatever was out there wanted to give me a message could. And the message that came through was so simple. It said dragons are the original divine spark, here now, connecting with the divine sparks trapped in this human incarnation loop. I was like, whoa, that's a bit deep. That's a bit deep. I spent quite a while sort of unpacking that, and I still am. So I'm getting there, and once I've got the full understanding of what that means, and if I could connect to who gave me that message. Yeah, I've heard of the Dragon Council, and I've had a couple of meetings with them. It felt like there was some sort of overall arching dragon energy that was telling me this, and that's why the dragons are so prevalent at the moment, because they're coming in, waking up, because they want to wake us up. They want to help us move the earth to that new reality where we don't live in a place where there's wars and all the rest of it. That ideal place, and it's possible. And I think a lot of us think, how do we get there? And I've had that all my life. How do we get there? And they're like, well, we're here to help you with that. How? I'm not sure yet, but yeah. So it was epic.
Yeah, wow. I felt totally transported as you were speaking with like everywhere that you were speaking of. And I was seeing, when you were talking about the silence at the end, then I was seeing a huge dragon. And a very still, as the air was, as the that was the impression that I got as you were speaking, that just the stillness of it. But I'm seeing a huge dragon. I'm sure there's more than one, but I was just kind of shown one to start with. And yeah, what a beautiful message.
The mountains, if when you go there, the mountains are humongous, and not this time, but the time before, again when I was in the plant medicine, I felt like the whole mountain in front of me, which was like probably 10 miles wide, was a dragon. So I connected to what I thought. I was like, are you there? And in my moment, the mountain moved. This dragon went, it's like asleep. It opened one eye and then closed its eye, and that was it. I was like, it's not time, leave me alone, sort of thing. So yeah, I feel that much of the land is got dragons in it, or under it, or they're in the volcanoes or whatever. So yeah, make that resonate.
Yeah, beautiful. Wow. Alessandra, anything you want to add to what Kevin was sharing there?
I went to Lake Titicaca in 2016, and I got to go on, I think it has two islands on it, a big island and a small island, or more. And Kevin, there's something that you said. It feels like you get to experience the earth how it was before humans were there. And I had an extremely powerful experience, and high, because you're extremely high up. I think that at that time I didn't know how up we were, but I felt high, and I kept seeing visions of giant beings. So there's a theme going on. You mentioned the giant mountains and being high up, and in the vision I was a giant being. The giant beings were showing me these visions. I think that Antares energy was I was really tuning into that in general at that time. But I also think Antares is a giant star, and that Antares beings are giant proportionately to this giant. But there was something about getting high in that space, because it was like you said, Kevin, it's like you said words. And so now I finally have words for the feeling that I had, the experience there. And it's original Earth, but there was also a lot of galactic energy. At that time, I wasn't thinking of dragons. Dragons had come to me a year after that. So I'm like, oh, what would it be like to be there? But this original Earth that hasn't gone. So that feels really good. So loved by the local people there that are still very much pure with their relationship. But for me also, it's like, oh, there's the galactic energy that's there. It just felt so exciting, but also mysterious. It's like there is more to know there about us, about Earth, about who were we because I think one of my questions is, and this might be the Mayans, the Peruvians, the native people in this area. The question is, who are we in ancient humans? What were ancient humans? You can even say Neanderthal, the other, like, I think we were so much more telepathic, or um, there's just a lot to hidden history, and there's got to be a big chunk that you can access there. And I think we're obsessed, right? A lot of us are obsessed with the Mayan calendar, with the crystal skulls, with so there's something about a massive key to human DNA, human history, and even our galactic human. So there's a lot going on there. Let's all go to your retreat, Kevin.
You're welcome. I'll let you know when it's on.
Okay, thank you. I think I'm going to speak about Kyanite Dragons, I think, next. So, again, at the Magdalene Chapel, I think it was the last time or the time they're all merging together. One time recently when I was there. And I had found a little magical place behind the chapel outside that was like a circle of trees, and it felt such strong fae energy. I usually connect with the dragons at the chapel, but this felt slightly different. This was more elemental, it was more fairy energy. And I'm sure there are dragons there as well, but I was more aware of the fairy energy. And in the circle of trees, there were random stones on the ground, like rocks on the ground, that I think were naturally occurring. And then kind of in the center of that, just in the ground, there was two Amanita muscaria mushrooms, the red and white, the classic fairy mushrooms growing in there. And I went inside to do a language of light transmission. And I've filmed myself in there many, many times, but this was the first time, those ones, this was the first time that I photographed their orbs flying around. Bigger orbs about this big, tiny little orbs, and other things flying around. It was really quite random and lots of them there. And the Kyanite dragons, the color that I was seeing, so kyanite I associate with blue. So that looks quite green there, but there, that looks more blue. But this was a very dark turquoise color. And the only turquoise kyanite that I've seen was while I was in Australia. And it's kind of more teal, kind of, I don't know if it's quite picking up the color as it is on here, but this kind of color, like a deep, dark turquoise. And the transmission that I was doing was for this area at the back of the head, which other people associate with teal as well. I didn't know that until somebody shared that with me later. And these kyanite dragons have been so very gentle, very watery. I also connected with this like teal water there as well. And I've bought some kyanite because I don't think I have any, and I didn't realize how many different colors there are. There's black kyanite, there's purple, which I haven't got, there's like orange, and there's yellow, there's green, and there's blue as well. Yeah, so I would like to just invite us actually to connect with the kyanite dragons, and just invite them in if you feel to into your space. They feel very liquid and strong, but very, very gentle. And I'll just invite us to tune into this area at the back of our heads, this area known as the Alta Centre. It's the occipital region, the Medulla Oblongata, also known as the mouth of God, and yeah, there's other names that aren't coming to me just now. And it's a link between our throat and our third eye. It's kind of like the back of the third eye, some people feel. It's also linked to the stress response in the body. And I think this area, I feel that this area can get a little bit closed off. And I think the more stressed we are, the more closed off this area is. And I'm seeing the turquoise teal kyanite dragons kind of moving in a figure of 8 at the back here, and just inviting them, if you feel to just cleanse that area a little bit. And it feels like as they're moving through, they're absorbing some of the tension that's held there and just opening it up so that we are more connected to the earth, as we were speaking of before, that part of ourselves that has been shut away, that we've lost, that we had as earlier humans, and that many of the indigenous peoples of the planet still have. And it means that we're more connected to the etheric realms, but also more connected to the earth, to the trees, to the waters of the planet. And just inviting them to the higher heart as well, between the throat and the heart. And again, I'm seeing figure of 8 there as well. And I'm connecting with them daily at the moment. And I just feel like I'm wrapped in their beautiful teal energy. It just feels like a beautiful teal, watery blanket. Very, very loving, very, very gentle. And I'd like to hand over to you as well, Alessandra, and just on the back of this, if there's anything that you would like to share to connect us with the unicorn energy, or anything else different from that that you might feel to bring in. Now, Alessandra is missing. I'll hand over to you, Kev, actually, and see if there's anything that you would like to add.
She's back.
You're back.
I was feeling a lot of water, and there was like a returning to home base energy. Home base, I think, is a key word. Where a long time ago, when I started learning even more about the additional chakras beyond the 7, I learned from, I forgot who it was, it might have been Channeler Sheldon Nile. This was called the assemblage point, but I think also Channeler David Miller said that also. So I know that as assemblage point, and lately everything is water. So I feel as though the activation, I think it's giving us different things that we need, but right now for me, there was this whole liquid, I don't know how to explain it. I feel like I got a deep dive in the right kind of potassium, calcium, electrolytes, buoyancy that we need in the plasmatic aspect of the water inside of us, which would be like blood, but you don't see just the red blood cells, you're just seeing the liquid and the right kind of tension in the liquid. So it's not just water. I'm just thinking of it as water. So the Kyanite Dragons gave me like a deeper dive or a better sense of, I want to call it flow, because there's more lubrication inside of the buoyancy, and even the oiled. It's like being well oiled. And they were extremely fast and very efficient. And I think you asked about unicorn energy. Did I catch that right? So the unicorn energy that's coming in, similar to the kyanite dragon frequency, they're playing with the concept of be aware of what's happening and at the same time allow for a purification on tissues, body tissues, interstitial areas between cells, and allow this purification to come in your body and then to exude out. Because if we're thinking of the tickling and the opening that the kyanite dragons gave us in this space, which I'm going to call the assemblage point, then there is an ability that we have now to essentially, it sounds weird, extend our auric field. The assemblage point, if it's too tight by, exactly like you were saying and the dragons were saying, if it's too tight in general, it's also too tight. It's dangerously too close to your physical body. And ideally, if we can literally be more buoyant, like the right kind of consistency in blood, then we would have the assemblage point more out here. I don't know if, yeah, out here. And then if we can, and we're adept and more shamanic or more Reiki trained, then we can have it even more out here and literally be more buoyant. So there is this huge collaboration with multiple little tiny fairy beings that are working with the kyanite dragons. The kyanite dragons are working with other beings, and then this unicorn frequency is coming to make sure. It's almost as though working with this energy can open a psychic wound in a way, and it could get contaminated. Like if we get surgery and you open up your body, open heart surgery, you want to make sure that everything is very sterile and clean, if that's the right word, purified. So the dragons are coming in to make sure that we are under the hands of professionals as we are really expanding more, because it's a little bit bizarre and counterintuitive for a lot of us on earth now to be embodying more and more of our masterfulness and to become bigger and bigger and bigger beings, as there is even literally more dirt in the world, if that makes sense. So the kyanite, I'm going to call them beings because I just see so many of them, are master specialists. And I think there was something that you were saying earlier, Kevin. I think you mentioned 101 dragons, something like that, with the specialists. So I'll pass it over to you because I'm seeing lots of things that are distracting.
Beautiful. We see it all that. It's the figure of 8 that keeps repeating itself for me. I call it the infinity sign, or in my shamanic practice, the lemniscus. And we in shamanic practice we walk the lemniscus. So near me there's a place called Grey Weathers, which is 2 stone circles next to each other, been there for 5,000 years, used by the druids and the shamans of England, the Celts and all the rest of it. And I go up there at least 2 or 3 times a year and play my drum and walk the lemniscus. Now you're talking about the kyanite dragons in the lemniscus and the infinity sign. It's very interesting because as you were talking, I could feel that energy in the back of my neck. I definitely hold a lot of tension in my neck. When I was in Colombia and I went and saw the shamans there, they put their hands on my neck and released so much energy. It felt like lava ran down my arm and in my hand into the earth. And I was like, ah! They're like, breathe, just breathe. I was like, it was the most pain I've ever had in my life, and it was just them releasing the tension. Yeah, I feel that. I'm going to have to investigate that a bit more. The fact, because whenever I go to sleep and I imagine that I'm protecting myself before I go to sleep, I imagine the energy doing the figure of 8 around me, and I see it through my chakras. I see it flip sideways, and then I see it sort of do the points of the clock, and then I see it doing it the other way, and it's like it creates a pattern around me that creates, I don't know what, a protection. And whenever I walk it, I feel like that connection, that walking in the figure of 8, the infinity sign, the lemniscus, whatever you want to call it, and doing it step by step on the earth, it does something. It connects you more to it. You get more grounded. It does. I do the circle sometimes, but if I do the lemniscus, it's stronger. I don't know why. There's definitely something in that. I'm gonna. Yeah, you've opened something up for me to investigate a bit more. Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. The 17 people watching as we speak about 8. 7 and 1 is 8. I've just got very distracted looking at Facebook on my phone because I was, just checking if there were any questions or anything. Do you remember last time we were on? It kind of froze on my phone. I'm pretty sure that happened last time that we were together. It's done it again. So there might not be 17 people. The questions are still coming through. That like the comments are still moving, but we 3 are frozen. And in front of Alessandra, it says lake. Can you see that?
Oh yeah.
I'm just gonna technical stuff pin. I'm just gonna spotlight for everybody for a moment.
Yeah. Lake.
How is that even possible? Like, why the word lake? Like, why, what?
Lake Titicaca. You called in the energy of the lake.
I know, but I mean, what's the pop? I don't,
It's because
I
you've
don't
been
understand.
talking. It's putting the words up, isn't it?
Yeah, it is coming up with the subtitles because I've got the sound down,
Oh,
but it's just
okay.
frozen that it's at the word lake.
Oh,
There you
my
go.
And
You're the
gosh.
lady of the lake.
I've been obsessed with lakes. I mean, yeah, I'm
Okay.
obsessed with lakes. I think I had a Native American part that drowned herself in Lake Michigan, Chicago, Native American, because the white people were taking over, and I said, "You don't take over me." And so I keep going back to Chicago Lake. I mean, I was born, Chicago Lake is called Lake Michigan. Um, then I moved to Italy when I was a little 3-year-old, and there we lived by Lake Bracciano, which is a volcanic lake, then Lake Titicaca. So yeah, I think I have yet to understand what that really means to me or to other humans that have this also. I think there's something huge to that. And right now, I mean, I live on a small volcanic lake in Italy, which this lake area and the sacred woods are connected to goddess Diana. And there is a water activation going on worldwide. It's been at least a year. Everybody we're talking about water priestesses. And this year also there's this massive dragon activation. But both the waters and the dragons have been slowly, really, really, really coming up as an activation for a lot of us. And what's exciting is there's a lot of us doing this. While in the past, I want to say some of us were the spokesperson for Ontarians or spokesperson for the galactic beings, but now it feels as though the dragon energy is for all of us to bring a part in, and this water activation is for a lot of us to be bringing in. So it's very community connecting, which is interesting because if you have a drop of water and another one, they'll connect and they'll be one. So it's very community thing. I wonder what lake means for you or for more people. I think there's a lot to it. And the Lady of the Lake, myths. Yeah.
for me as well. So this coming Tuesday, I'm doing a gathering with the Kyanite Dragons and with this teal energy, this teal frequency, and the teal water frequency.
Yes, water.
Yeah. And I had
Yeah.
had this feeling of being immersed in the water and the water kind of rising like a fountain with you on top of it. And this kind of occurred in meditation when I was tuning in the other day. And that deep cleansing through all of the body. But there's something about being lifted up. And I'd seen that expanse of water I hadn't tuned into the size of that expanse of water, but I feel it's much bigger. What I was getting when I was seeing the word lake is that has to be much bigger. It's like a big expanse of water. And I think there's a connection with the work that we'll be doing on Tuesday and the waters of the planet, and obviously our waters as well. and as you said, the interstitial fluid, like the space between the cells, and the water of the fascia, and the lymph and the plasma of the body as well. And I think you mentioned the mycelium, like not just the bodies of water of the planet, but all the water of the planet. And it is really what joins us together, and with the universe as well. Vida Austin has been doing some amazing work on water and showing the consciousness of water. And I feel that I need to bring that in a little bit more on Tuesday. Yeah, interesting.
You're doing it. I think you might be excited, but I think you're doing it. You're already embodying all that, your transmissions and all that you're doing. So I guess people will be excited that you'll do even more.
Yeah, thank you. Oof. Did you want to share a little something of the unicorns, a little transmission?
Yes, I did. I feel like we're gonna maybe have a surprise. So with you, Denise, and you, Kevin, I tested my musical instruments. I'll still use them for the frequency, but I'm aware that us online we won't be able to hear it. So let's just start with welcoming the appropriate unicorn frequency for all of us at this time, because I really just keep seeing families and families and legions, droves. These are the words that come to me. Somebody just told me that a group of unicorns is called a blessing. So we have blessings of unicorns. And the feeling that we are asked to think of is new energy, new support in new ways, magic, purity, and soul. There was something that I think you said, Kevin, and it had something about Peru. I don't remember, you had connected it to something, but you had said the word soul, and I felt a zap, and it was like, oh, and the unicorns were more present. They were nodding and connecting to this energy. So unicorns, and I think you, Denise, were mentioning the higher self coming in different forms. So there's something about the purity of the unicorn energy and the purity of our soul and our inner child, and this massive purity of ourselves. So maybe it feels as though, are the unicorns bringing in more of our soul right now, that we're asking them to do? You can see that the unicorn maybe is an aspect of us, like an angel on the other side. We're being asked to just play with words and with ideas. But there is this soft, fluffy energy all around us, like a big hug, a big sense of community, a big sense of returning. For those of us that really, really, really want to geek out with specifics and energies, there's unicorns that come through the constellation of Lyra. There's unicorns that come from the planet Sirius or the ascended version. There's unicorns that come through the Aldebaran portal. There's unicorns that come from inner earth, and they all have very, very specific roles, and they might be appearing for our soul mission to be even more evident. And then there's these unicorns that I'm a spokesperson for right now, and these are the unicorns of working with the masses, working with conscious 3D politics, working with righteousness, working with world building on surface area worlds. And these unicorns are coming in now saying, let us be the rock stars of your consciousness. Pay some attention to us, because we've got the answers for you. We've got the power. We got the pizzazz. Like, we're strong, we're big. You want big? We're big, we're bigger. And so I had no idea they had such a sense of humor, but they're saying, focus, focus. What are you focusing on? Let us bring it. We are big, we are so strong, we're so powerful, we're so muscular, we are so masculine in our unicorn energy. Look, 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 look at us. Really, really look at us. Because as so many precious being, we are reflecting back to you the power that you are. One of your biggest powers is your focus and your attention. What are you focusing at? What are you looking at consciously? And then the subs categories of subconsciously also. But look at us. Give us some power, which is then ricocheting back to you. But let us do our job, because trust me, we have been called by you. There is so much that we can do, which in the end is so much that you can do. Because really there can be the tides of change, winds of change, tides of change. We can be the tipping point. There is so much that can really, really, really unfold. We just want you to say, look, look, look at me. We can be your inner children and say, look, 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 mom, look, 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 look at what can be, because it really is. So start looking at this parallel earth, parallel space, parallel reality, where dreams are true, where the just society is true, where you have one foot in that space and one foot into what people call 3D reality. You're here now, you're here listening, you're focusing. Look, 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 look at this, us, unicorn guardian, working with the masses. Unicorns are showing me that I think that the surprise, this is kind of really cute, the surprise frequency that they are wanting to bring in has something to do with our imaginary friends from childhood that probably were not imaginary at all. And it's like these little fairies and these gnomes and these beings, and it just like, I'm just seeing a lot of elementals that are coming in, almost kind of like through the back door or through cracks, like something about the massive unicorns that are coming in for just society, but we get to have a lot of our friends back. There has been not even a quarantine, it's worse. There was a exodus of a lot of elementals, and there's something with these unicorns coming in saying, we're coming in, but we're bringing our friends. And so there's lots of us right now that our inner children are just so happy to have access to these elemental little fairies that will help us in so many things, but we're helping them. Because we're not just helping Earth or humans, we're helping the elementals that are on the Earth. I'll take a pause there, Denise. I don't know if there's something else that wants to pop through.
Kev, anything you want to add to that?
Wow. I was off on a beautiful journey with the unicorns. The second time I've ever seen a unicorn, and it was a huge one, like you said, absolutely massive. And what it was doing was it was running around me. It was doing the lemniscus around me and playing and kicking, and it was like a beautiful horse when you see a horse that's like free in the field and it's running and galloping, kicking and bucking. It was just doing that. It was just joyous. And like horses will come over to you sometimes and they'll put their heads on your shoulders and they just sort of lean on you. It came over to me, it was huge, and it tried to lean on me, so it shrank to my size and put its head on me, and I was like, oh, relax, relax. And then it became big, full size again, and I was like, ride me. I was like, yeah, but I'm really small. It's like, no, that's just you limiting yourself. So I grew to my true self, and I became as big as this huge unicorn. and I jumped on its back and it just flew around. It was beautiful, like flying on the back of a dragon, but on the back of a unicorn. That was gorgeous. Wow. That was amazing. Thank you.
You know, what's funny, Denise, is I knew that we would get a surprise today, and you know, it's the fairies, and it's just all a lot of elemental energy. I think what they're telling me, unless more stuff is going to come, the surprise is the surprise. What? Yeah, we have a surprise for you. And the surprise is a surprise. I'm like, but what do you mean? So I think we're getting surprise energy, which to me, I'm just seeing all these different elementals. For me, that's the surprise that they're coming, but they're bringing more surprises. So I'm there with my logical brain saying, you mean that like good things are coming in 2025? You know, more our wishes are coming true. And they're like, no, the surprise is the surprise. I'm like, okay. I'm forgetting like fairy tales where you have the riddles, and I'm just giggling and all these different, and they're very happy energy. But the surprise is a surprise. There's a surprise, and the surprise is a surprise. So I'm giggling. And the surprise also is Kevin, us being bigger. I think that's the surprise too, and to being able to readily access it. So I think if I'm going to try to be human here and have us interpret, I think it's because, that's a surprise for me. Okay, so I knew I was tapping into unicorn energy and I knew that was important. I'm literally slurring my words as though I'm drunk. I don't drink. I'm just getting high up the energy. The surprise for me is being able to see again all of these elementals that I know have not been around for a while. Their presence is the surprise. Of course, that's not all of it. They're just saying, the surprise is a surprise. You're going to be surprised. Okay, but I'm just so happy to see so many back. And I know that there might be a lot of people looking and saying, oh, but they've been all around. I'm like, good for you. They were in your backyard with you, but some of us here have been missing them. Good for you. You're doing your work. But for a lot of main people, now more people will have access. So I think there's more surprises coming. And the last part of the message is be tickled and allow these surprises, because with that back part of our neck that most Westerners have, if not all regular people in the modern world, we're all big problems here, is to be allowing enough, because there's really a lot of these really sweet surprises that want to come to us, and the little sweet surprises have little short stubby legs and they're walking around. And allow the unicorns to come in. I think we're each getting at least one kind of unicorn coming to us, and it's going to be very different for us, just like yours was so specific, Kevin. So I think that's it, although it's not finished because they're dancing and giggling and there's just a whole party. I've never seen anything like this, so thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, that was a lot. And I was seeing a lot of like silvery blue. I'm seeing them coming through this portal, and it's got like all these dots around it, like silver dots around it. And I'm seeing like a pearlescent, very pale blue, a bit like your eyeshadow, but maybe a little bit more pale blue. A little bit less of the green, but I feel that that's there as well. And as you say, just legions of unicorns, fairies, and it feels like these are new kind of maybe stargates, but portals to the earth that are opening up and allowing more of these energies to be present. And I feel with this area awakening as well, we'll be much more aware of them and much more, being able to see them, sense them, hear them, just knowing that they're there. or just put the whole conversation matches your eyeshadow.
My eyeshadow, I don't know if it's coming across, but through technology, but when you were mentioning the color of kyanite, I thought that's why there was something unusual about the color today, and usually it is. There's different messages for me, and today it felt foreign to me or new to me. Like this is not me getting the message as usual. And so when you were bringing the kyanite, I was like, that's the answer.
Yeah, and it feels like you're tapping into that lighter shade, and I'm tapping
Yes.
into this
Yeah.
orange as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, wow, beautiful. So if people are feeling a bit spacey after this call, after the transmissions that we've shared, I invite you to just imagine your roots of energy growing down from the base of your spine and the soles of your feet, and feeling back into your heart awareness again, and feeling that heart to heart connect. I can't speak. That heart to heart connection with the earth, and feeling your energy fully present in your body. And you may feel more of your energy, your soul energy, your higher self energy present in your physical vessel. And if you do feel you need grounding, going into nature, drinking plenty of water, having a good dance on the land. Might be too cold to be barefoot, but just having a good dance on the land and hugging some trees, and allowing yourself to feel any emotions as well that may be coming up to be felt. And if anyone wishes to join me on Tuesday, I will put a link to the ticket tailor. If you want to connect more deeply with the Kyanite Dragons, you can, of course, do that. Just do that anyway on your own. But if you want to be in a group environment to do that, I would love if you would like to join us on Tuesday, 6:30 UK time. And I'll put the link to that if you want any more information. Kev, what have you got going on at the minute? Anything you'd like to share off?
The big thing at the moment is the dragon shamanism. That course has already started. It's not too late to join us. We're in week 3, so you can still join us. That's a year-long course. For those of you that prefer shorter things, then you can join the Dragon Shamanism Facebook group, and in there I'm going to start be sharing the 101 healer dragons. So they're coming through bit by bit. They like to come in all at once. I'm like, hey, I'm human, one at a time, please. I think I've done the 17th one, so I've started to share in there the picture of them, their skills, and their particular healing modalities, and I'm planning to hopefully this year finish the 101 and put a book out there and some wisdom cards. So if somebody says I'm after a chakra cleansing, you can cross-reference it. Oh, it's that dragon. If I called in that dragon, that'll assist me. And so that's out there. And of course, I'm always here if anyone wants to connect to dragons or needs any sort of shamanic healing. So yeah, and thank you for having us as a guest again. It's always beautiful to connect with yourself and Alessandra as well.
Yeah, thank you. Likewise, and yeah, I'm sure we'll do plenty more of these. I love this combination. And Kev, if you put your links in the comments on Facebook, and I will add them to the description on YouTube. I can't, for some reason, when you go live from Zoom into Facebook, you can't edit the post afterwards. It doesn't work, so I won't be able to edit the description. Alessandra, anything you've got coming up that you want to share about?
Yes, I do. April, it feels like far away, but in April, we have water priestesses that are being guided by Venus Valkyries. The Valkyries are really working with the unicorns. So I have a 6-day retreat to be here in Rome. We won't be in Rome all the time. We will go to the Vatican, and we're going to be giving and receiving. There is a lot of spiritual advocacy to do here, a lot of spiritual activism. There's these water priestess sites that were generated by water nymphs, and then the Etruscans built temples on them, and then the Romans took them over. And so there's a lot of energy that's strong, but in these sacred sites and these temples, strong, but might want to be adjusted or even freed, if that makes sense, and then being in the Vatican. So there's a lot of exciting stuff. I only have 7 spots, and it's me and my very, very warrior woman sister. She's the driver, the van driver, and we will be based here in this Nemi area, home base of Goddess Diana, and Rome is 45 minutes away by the van that we have, little car van. So I'd like to leave a link. We'll figure it out. I don't know how to access, but anyways, but I'm trying to figure out ways of how to make this energy and this mission and these sacred sites. We have at least sacred sites to do, 7 sacred sites in 6 days, including the Vatican. And it's for 7 of us, right? 7, well, 9, including me and my sister. And that's being very, very physically in person. So thank you, unicorns, for helping us. But there really is going to be somehow a way of doing this online too, like so that it can breathe in a way year round. So this is very big. And for some reason, I want to share this Mayan, it feels like a Mayan skull crystal that's like Kevin when you were speaking, and her name for now, she's been called Maya. And she just keeps talking about the Mayan prophecies, the crystal skulls, and loving our galactic DNA and our human DNA. So it's all about uncovering hidden history. So yay! Venus Valkyries in the retreat, April. It's at the end of April.
That treat is amazing. I went this year and it's epic. It's full on and it's gorgeous. And the energy of the 2 sisters is, you'll just love them forever. You really will. So go. Don't miss out.
Thanks.
Ah, beautiful. Yeah, I don't know if I'll get to the next one, but one day I will be on on your retreat. One day
Peru then Rome.
we two will
Yeah.
meet in person. Okay, so anything else to share? I don't think so. Just to say thank you to both of you, to Kevin and to Alessandra, once more for joining me here on Love Speaks Love. And thank you everybody who's been with us either on the live or on the replay or on YouTube or anywhere else that this is going to be broadcast. And yeah, have a wonderful weekend. I'm still seeing that silvery blue. All right. Thank you, everybody. I will stop the live now and see you all soon. Hopefully see you on Tuesday. Lots of love. Love, love, love. Bye.